Before we begin this heart-touching story, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment, because what you're about to hear will stay in your heart forever. This is The Millionaire's Mute Daughter Took One Sip. What happened next will leave you in tears. They called her Amara. The only daughter of one of the richest men in the city, Mr. Kareem Shah. He owned towers that touched the clouds, cars that glittered like jewels, and a mansion so wide that a whisper could get lost in its marble halls. But even with all his power, he couldn't buy the one thing he wanted most, his daughter's voice. Amara had been born healthy, beautiful, perfect in every way, except she couldn't speak. The doctors called it selective mutism, but for Kareem, it felt like punishment. After his wife passed away during childbirth, Amara became his entire world. He hired the best doctors, therapists, and healers, but nothing worked. She would smile, she would cry, but never utter a word. Years passed, and Kareem's world became quieter, not because of Amara's silence, but because he stopped listening to life. He buried himself in business, deals, and luxury, while Amara spent her days painting under the old banyan tree in their garden. Her colors spoke what her lips could not: pain, loneliness, and a longing for something her father didn't see anymore, love without price. But one day, everything changed. It was a warm afternoon when Kareem's mansion prepared for another grand event, the launch of his new luxury hotel. Guests in shining dresses, cameras flashing, reporters crowding the gates. Amara sat quietly on the garden bench, sketching a bird flying out of a cage. Her caretaker, an old woman named Noor, smiled softly. "Your mother loved birds too," Noor whispered, watching the girl draw. Amara smiled faintly and held up her drawing, a bird with one broken wing, still trying to fly. Noor sighed. "Maybe one day, your father will see the cage he's built around himself." But Amara didn't respond, she just turned her eyes toward the balcony where her father stood, smiling for the cameras, his arm around investors, his heart elsewhere. Later that evening, when the party began, Amara was called down. For the first time in years, Kareem wanted to introduce his daughter to the world, not out of love, but out of image. He thought maybe showing his angelic child would melt investors' hearts. She came down the grand staircase in a soft lavender dress, her hair in loose curls, her eyes shining but distant. The crowd murmured in awe. "This is my daughter, Amara Shah," Kareem announced proudly. "She may not speak, but her heart speaks louder than any words." Everyone clapped. Amara smiled politely, but her heart was breaking. She wasn't a trophy. She was his child, and all she wanted was to be seen for who she truly was. The music played, laughter echoed, and glasses filled with golden champagne. A waiter placed a glass in Amara's hand. She rarely drank anything except water, but tonight, she held it, her reflection shimmering in the bubbles. Noor whispered, "It's just juice, my dear." Amara lifted it to her lips. She took one small sip. And suddenly, everything around her blurred. Her fingers trembled, the glass slipped, and she collapsed to the marble floor. The music stopped. People gasped. Noor screamed. Kareem ran forward, his heart pounding. "Amara!" Her eyes fluttered open for a moment, she looked right at him, tears rolling down her cheeks. Her lips moved soundlessly, but no words came. Then she lost consciousness. The guests were ushered out, the sirens wailed, and Kareem's world shattered once again. Amara was rushed to the hospital. Hours passed like centuries. The doctor finally came out, his face pale. "Sir, the drink your daughter had was laced with something. We're running tests to confirm what it was." Kareem's mind froze. Someone had tried to hurt his child, or worse. But who? And why? As Amara lay in the ICU, machines beeping around her, Noor sat by her bed, holding her hand, whispering prayers. Kareem sat outside, broken for the first time, not as a businessman, but as a father. He looked at her childhood photos on his phone, the drawings she made, the laughter he missed, the birthdays he forgot. The guilt was crushing. Noor turned to him and said, "Sir, when was the last time you asked her what she felt, not what she needed?" He had no answer. He realized he had built towers for the world but walls for his own daughter. The next morning, the doctor came in with cautious hope. "She's stable now." But, he hesitated. "Her condition might change. She needs care, not medicine, love, peace, understanding." Kareem nodded silently, walked into her room, and sat beside her. For the first time in years, he took her hand. It was small, fragile, trembling. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I've been the mute one all along." Tears streamed down his face. And then, it happened. Amara's fingers moved slightly. Her lips parted. And in a voice faint, trembling, and filled with love, she whispered her first word. "Papa." Kareem froze. The doctor's pen fell from his hand. Noor gasped. Amara's eyes filled with tears as she whispered again, "Papa." He broke down completely, hugging her close, sobbing like a child. Years of silence shattered in a single heartbeat. Days later, the police discovered the truth: the drink had been meant for Kareem. A jealous business partner had planned the poisoning, but Amara had accidentally picked up the wrong glass. She had taken the pain meant for her father, and somehow, that pain became the miracle that healed her silence. Kareem sold the hotel project and built something different instead, Amara's Haven, a foundation for children with speech disorders and trauma. Amara, now able to speak, used her gentle voice to inspire others. She painted, she sang softly, and she told her story to remind people that love can heal the wounds medicine cannot. At the grand opening, she stood on stage beside her father, holding his hand, and said in front of hundreds, "Sometimes, silence is louder than words. But when love finally speaks, the world listens." The crowd rose in applause, tears streaming down faces. Kareem looked at her, not as a businessman, not as a father of a mute child, but as the luckiest man alive. If this story touched your heart even a little, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more stories that remind us, money can buy comfort, but love is what saves souls. Red Heart.